broadcasting basil seed on the bed. Basil and tomatoes don't just pair well on the plate, they also pair very well in the garden. Also watering the strawberries because they're still producing. There's flower and there's fruit. Planted them on the base of these fruit trees because over time, when the fruit trees have irrigation system, the strawberries will also benefit from that. And I have these wood chips so that grass doesn't grow around the fruit trees. So for ease of maintenance, and the strawberries are doing quite well here. And I would have to say that the fruit tree is enjoying the company from the strawberries. This is a pomegranate. It's pretty young, and it's already flowering. It has the most beautiful flower. I had never seen pomegranate blossom before. Beautiful. Instead of using straw or plastic mulching or anything like that, they can be here in the wood chips, and they seem to be doing pretty good. There's fruit, there's flower. Yeah, I think we'll have strawberries for another week or two, I think. These ones here are at the base of this cherry tree. It's like the biggest of 4 cherry trees that I've planted here some years ago. When this place wasn't even my mom's yet. But I figured if I didn't end up with this place, somebody would enjoy fruit from these trees. Well, for now, the birds are enjoying the fruit from these trees. This is the birds. They don't even wait for the fruit to be fully ripe. Yeah, this year the cherries are for the birds. I will have to put nets over these trees if I want to have cherries while the trees are small. Eventually, when the trees are big, there'll be enough cherries for everyone. For now, it's either for the birds or for us if we put a net over the trees. Oh, here's a nice one. Yep, perfect. Breakfast time is coming up, and I feel like this week is the last week of Loquat Strawberry yogurt parfaits. Yeah, definitely the last week for loquats. There's very few left, but it's been quite a few weeks that I've been enjoying the fruit from this tree. I feel like my grandparents planted it for me, because I remember vividly my grandpa saying multiple times that this tree had never given fruit. So I don't know, but I think that maybe they never had fruit from this tree. They never enjoyed the fruit from this tree. But I have been enjoying quite a bit of fruit from it. Me and the birds. The birds, they've eaten as much as I have, maybe more. So a nice one here. Yeah, the strawberries will keep producing, but this one is done. Oh, come up there. Can reach up there. Nice one. No, that's bird food. Yeah. It's definitely slim pickings right now for me. Wow, nice one here. Oh, sweet. Oh, beautiful. Oh, them, one for me. Beautiful. It's like the best fruit at the very end. Pretty good. was weeding the bush beans on the lower field, but it's gotten pretty hot. It's like 30 degrees out right now. So these hot days like this, I'll just take refuge in here, and there's quite a bit to do here. Cleaning all this, leveling the ground, putting the saibro down, and then eventually pointing all the joints in these walls. Now I'm gonna be paying the guys to do something that I can do, and I can be in here hiding from the heat. Yeah, it's part of my strategy. I hire for the things I can't do, don't want to do, will take me too long. I'm actually surprised that Alabaster, my dog, is not here. He's pretty good at finding the coolest spot to relax. He's not a happy camper on hot days like this. This is what the kitchen of a 200 to 300-year-old house from this region was like. 200 to 300, could be even longer, older than that. You often see the carving of the date of construction of these houses on the stone lintel above the main front door kind of thing. And back in those days, often the 1 was still the Roman numeral L. But yeah, this is a typical kitchen from a pre-indoor plumbing, pre-gas kitchen. So the bread oven, of course, this is a very, very simple rustic pour oven built of solid brick and stone. Got a granite stone base and doorway, and it has a chimney system. I still have to open up here to see how the chimney was, but these houses typically had kind of an opening on the roof that would let out the smoke. Some of them had a chimney. I don't really remember. I think there was a chimney on this one, but I'm not 100% on that. And so this here was the open fire cooking area. So you'd make a fire there, would have like firewood on the side or under, and pots would hang like sometimes those cast iron pots, but literally you'd make an open fire here, and then the coals, you'd cook on that. And I don't really know what that's for. I'll have to figure that out. Could be decorative, or I don't know. But my grandfather is known to make really good cornbread. I do remember that. It would take like a wooden door. Once you made the fire in there, heat it up, bring it to temperature, and then you put your bread in or whatever you were cooking in the oven, and then there would be a wooden door to close it, and it would usually be sealed with clay. Although I used to hear that some people would seal their door with cow manure as well. I'm not sure. I'll have to investigate further on that, but not even it's possible. I don't know. But yeah, it's. I imagine thousands and thousands of meals were cooked in this kitchen. pull the first carrot of the season. Let's see if this works. I added quite a bit of sand to this patch here to see if the carrots would grow nicely down, because it tends to be getting compacted a little bit, this soil here. So yeah, let's see what we have. A shorty. Has to do with the soil. It's pretty hard down below. Needs more sand. It's a nice carrot. I want to make some fish stock with the heads of the fish we caught yesterday. So I'm gonna need another carrot. I need to sacrifice another one. Nice. Big one. Yeah, they're all shorties. Definitely needs more sand. And it's still early anyway. I mean, these carrots haven't been here too long. Yeah, nice. The supermarket carrots definitely don't smell like that. It's beauties. Yeah, I'll use the green too. The green will add a lot of flavor to the stock. It has been a long time since the water flowed along this field here. Back in the days of my grandparents, and this is maybe already more than 40 years ago, the water from the spring here that is stored in this pond here would be shared by my grandparents and by the two neighbors adjacent. The corn sometimes needed to be watered later on when it's really dry. So you would kind of close it off over there to let it build up a little bit along this trench here. And because the field slopes down, like that end of the field is lower than this end, the water would flow between the rows of corn and would wet the corn, would soak the ground. So I just opened the channels to bring the water this way in case later on I have to water it. I don't know. We'll see. But I also prefer if the water flows along this field than where it was flowing. It kind of just was going down the hedgerow under this vine, this pergola, and it's really wet over there because the water was just like kind of, going in the ground. Constantly, the ground's constantly soaked over there. And I mean, it seeps into the ground eventually. It doesn't even really reach the end of the field, but I prefer it this way. Alabaster, the dog can come and drink from it, and now I want to dry up that area a little. I've been patrolling the potato patch for Colorado potato beetles, which is the main pest of these plants. Their larva feeds from the green. So if the potato has no green, the tuber doesn't grow. I find half a dozen beetles every day. They're pretty easy to spot and pick them out and crush them. Kind of nasty, but every once in a while they actually get to lay eggs. See, that's the eggs of the Colorado potato beetle. So they will develop, and the little larvae get on it, and in a couple of days this plant would be gone, be destroyed. So what I do is just smudge them up like that, and the eggs are dead. There's no larva coming from that. And I've been catching them pretty early. I don't let them breed or anything like that. And then, I've found eggs in maybe half a dozen plants. And I don't even look for them. Somehow I just spot them sometimes. They always lay on the bottom of the leaf. When I tell people around here that I do this, which takes me literally 5 minutes, and I weed at the same time. Like my patch has no grass. I think it's fun, actually. But when I tell people around here that I do this, they think I'm a crazy person. It's amazing to me how culturally ingrained spraying your food with poison is. It's like, I don't know, people forgot how things used to be done before the poisons, before the pesticides. I don't know. It's just funny to me. Their reaction is what's funny. It's like, oh my God, we don't live in those times anymore. And so now I have the corn. You can see the rows pretty clear already. And believe it or not, I'm gonna say that all corn is like this already, which basically works like this. You plant the corn, and the corn starts coming up. It comes up pretty quick, but so does the grass. And essentially, they wait until the corn has, I think, four leaves, and they basically spray herbicide on it, and the corn somehow survives. I'm not sure if it's genetically modified corn or if it's just hybrid corn or the type of herbicide. I haven't investigated because I really don't care to investigate, to be honest. I don't want anything to do with that stuff. But essentially the grasses die off, but the corn survives. It kind of holds it back a little bit, but then it comes back, and it has no grass competing with it, essentially. So when I tell people that I'm going to weed the corn by hand, they really freak out. They really think I'm nuts. But I remember when I was a kid, I remember Sashada is when my grandparents would get, I don't know, a few neighbors or some relatives, and essentially they'd take a field like this, and they would, with a little hoe, and they literally, dig the grasses. Like they would just, damage the grasses by doing this. I don't use a hoe. I use this scraper tool, which is very light. It's like, doesn't get me tired at all. All you do is you just scrape the surface like that, and it's enough to damage the grasses. And I'm lucky that this field doesn't seem to the grass is not coming back fast. So I think I can handle it by myself. So here's a plant. Actually, there's a couple of them here. I don't see a lot on this field, but I've seen some. And this plant is called Junsa. Oops, maybe there was two of them here. I haven't seen much. I mean, we did plow it, so it could have gone deeper into the ground. But what happens is, I've seen fields around here that are literally covered with this plant. It literally chokes the corn. So what gets done is they spray the field with the herbicide, and so the herbicide will basically kill the green, completely kill the green. The corn survives, recovers, comes back. But the problem with that is that this plant actually has a little tuber, a root that looks kind of like almost like a hazelnut. Actually investigated it because it seems to be a big nuisance around here. Like literally some fields are unusable because of this plant. But it's native here. People have all kinds of theories as how it showed up. I don't remember my grandparents ever talking about this plant. And everybody now talks about this plant around here. So I'm doing this because I want to get to that root tuber. I need to get that out. And this is what happens when you spray the herbicide. That tuber stays in the ground and it comes back. The plant comes back. Now they say, okay, well, it's not a problem because when the plant comes back, the corn's already tall, so it doesn't bother the corn anymore. And actually the corn shades the field, the soil, so the plant, the junsa, doesn't really grow much, but it's gonna grow next season. So you need more. See how deep it is? It's like, it can be up to like, I don't know, 5 inches, 10 centimeters deep. I already dug up a couple of them the other day. Oh, if I break it, then the little root ball stays in the soil and she's gonna come back. So anyway, what I think is that applying these herbicides just guarantees the survival of this plant, because the little root tuber stays in the ground and is going to come back. Yeah, I need to get a big shovel next time. I'm hoping that I bring in the tuber up with it, but I don't know. Crap. Nope, broke. But look how deep the root tuber was in the soil. Like literally, 12 centimeters, 15 centimeters, So there's some fields out there that absolutely the only way to plant any corn in them is to spray them with herbicide every year. So yeah, I don't seem to have much. I see now here a couple of them in a row. Once it grows to maturity, it has flower and seed heads, and of course sprays itself all over the field. So here's a row of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of them here in a row. Apparently not even goats eat it. Nothing. Cows don't eat it, sheep don't eat it, nothing. Nobody. It is kind of hard. Like it seems to have very sharp edges on the leaf as well. weeding by hand allows me to see them, to find them and I don't know, do something about them. And this may be why in the old days this plant was not an issue for cultivation, for corn. I mean, this field here, when I was a little kid, my grandparents sowed corn on this field. I remember that. And so I'm sure that they had to deal with this weed because it's very aggressive. You can see how tall it gets. Like it's outcompetes the corn essentially. I don't know, we'll see if the tubers came up with this. Yeah, there's one. Look, right here. See, that's the plant itself. The little tuber, it looks just like a hazelnut size. It was actually not too far from the surface. You can see how big this plant is compared to the corn. And it will outcompete that corn. Essentially, will cover this corn. So that's not coming back next year because the little tuber is out with it. But this tuber can be deep into the ground, like that deep. Yeah, this is a very aggressive weed. I was able to pull a few of them with the little tuber. Interesting root structure that they have. The one filament that connects the tuber to the surface is a different, slightly looks like older. Like this is the new roots. They're very sharp. People say that in the potato patch, these roots actually poke through the potatoes. It is very sharp. Like it's very, very sharp, needle sharp. What's unfortunate is that people don't realize, and back to the theories as to how it showed up around here, I think they don't know that it's native, but it is, according to Wikipedia. It's native to this part of the world, to the Iberian Peninsula, to Portugal, Spain, Mediterranean basin, basically. And they think that some people claim that it came in the fertilizers, that it gets spread around by machinery from field to field. But unfortunately, I think they failed to realize that spraying their fields with the herbicide actually guarantees the survival and the thriving of this plant, because those little tubers don't die with the herbicide. They stay in the ground and they come back every year. And potentially the mechanical tilling breaks them up occasionally, which means spreading. Potentially, I think that is a possibility. But you know, I still think that back in the day, when the sechadas were the thing, which is basically the process of weeding the field by hand with hose, this plant was never an issue. And now it's like, I've seen a field the other day, it looked like a golf course. It was turf, essentially. I could barely see the corn. The corn is a little bit different color, so you could see the corn a little bit, but it's like trouble, you know. And a field of this size, I was told the other day, it'll cost something like 60 euros in chemical, in herbicide, plus application, you know. If you don't own the equipment, you have to hire somebody, right? So yeah, that's junta. The bush beans are looking pretty nice too. They're flowering already. I found these two beauties, huge patches. Is summer savory and a close relative, oregano. They're beautiful. And this here will be kind of the herb garden. Yeah, it's be a raised bed. I can't wait to have the raised bed done here. But I'm already putting plants in here, and I don't even have a raised bed. I tried to bring it with lots of soil so it doesn't get too shocked, too much transplant shock. This is this here is this wall along the wall of the outbuilding. It'll be pretty sheltered from the northwesterly wind that is called Zimbru, which is real here in the winter. Like it really beats down. It can. And so this wall here and a raised bed here will be pretty sheltered from that. And also in the winter, when the sun travels further low on the horizon, this wall here will soak quite a bit of heat and will help the plants. So plants should thrive here in the winter instead of going into hibernation. I mean, these are perennials. So perennials pretty much in any climate. Even back in Canada, I used to have some of these plants. If you had a little sheltered area. In the cities, for sure, you can. Microclimates.
Tem então um custo de 65 euros.
Perfect. Oh yeah, it's coming along good. How's the fish?
Okay. Great.
Yeah, it was just mid-bone.
So it took you 3 hours to make this.
It's I call eating fish like this like slow food because you gotta really chew it slowly and pick the bones out.
Oh, it's salty.
You can't eat
She said
this.
the rice is salty.
You can't eat this in a hurry. Oh yes, it is. I know.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's like those feeding bowls for dogs, but it's